Okay, and we are live, but not, yeah, okay. So we are live on YouTube, but there's a problem on Twitter. But okay, the YouTube is, I think it's much more important right now. So we have a Niamh O'Connell here, the Senior Business Development Manager at Casper Labs. Say hello to everyone and viewers. If you hear us well, tell us that in comments. Hello, Niamh. Do you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that's great. So let's start. So right into jump into the deep dive in the Casper Labs operations. What is going on? What is going to happen? Tell us more about events that you were like a couple of weeks ago. What is coming?
Okay, wow, loaded question, a lot to answer there. So first off, a lot of things are happening. We're even growing our business now on the business side. So we recently just hired 2 new people to join our business development team. Why? Because our pipeline is growing and we're at capacity, which is a great situation, obviously, to be in. On the enterprise side, the number of customers across the different industries is growing, and equally on the channel partnership side, they are also growing. So, just taking a step back as well, and looking at the two. So on the enterprise side, these are our direct customers that we're going to engage and work with directly right now. On the channel partnership side, this is how we believe we can best scale. So, what we do well is blockchain development, and that's never going to change. That's essentially our bread and butter. But what we're looking then to do is partner, with a few different types of companies who can help us scale across different verticals, applications, and markets. So this is everything from, solution providers that may already be integrated with other layer ones or may not be. It also involves development shops and consulting firms. So, the likes of IBM and the other big four, they would be fantastic partners, that we would naturally be in discussions with. And then thirdly would be around service providers. So the likes of, AWS, we're already obviously on their cloud provider. We want to make sure that we're able to give our enterprises a broad range of options, so they can set up and scale in whatever infrastructure that they're looking to. And then lastly would just be around the consultative angle. So, anything that we might be, let's say, licensing or products that we're building, and we would then look to other companies to then help amplify our sales team.
So I will ask this simple question. So when something going to launch?
Okay, well, I do know. So there's a number of things obviously under development. IPv has been mentioned a lot. They're obviously at alpha right now. So in the coming weeks, they are to launch a couple million patents, which is super exciting because...
Whoa, wait. 1 patent is 1 NFT, so they're going to mint 1 million patents on Casper blockchain?
Correct.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious, yeah. And that's just to start, just to be clear, just to start. So in the coming weeks, that's something that's super exciting. And obviously a game changer because, with these patents, you're really turning a cost-centric asset into a revenue-generating asset because it can be trade, it could be license, etc. So that's one project that I can definitely talk about. And then I would say what else we can say is, I think, with Davos coming up in January during the World Economic Forum, we're going to have a very big presence again there this year. So we'll be making some great announcements there in terms of things that we're working on. But you do have to remember, the timeline it takes, obviously, to do these projects, be it a POC, MVP, or production, it takes time. So we're not just going to make an announcement at, an early stage of a project. We want to do it with a big impact, and that takes time.
Okay, so give me one example. What you're going to announce during Davos event?
I would definitely say there's going to be a lot more on the NFT activation side. So let's say that could incorporate a VR, AR type element. also the easy ability to, let's say, for example, and there's all examples that we could pull from, the ability to easily create an NFT, have it on your phone, and then redeem that for any type of gift card. A plug and play type situation into existing APIs with, let's say, marketplace type providers today.
Okay. Before the live stream, you were about to tease me about something new coming from yesterday. What was that?
Oh, yeah. So yesterday I was at a conference. It was a 2-day conference in New York, which is where I'm based. And it was targeted at enterprise C-suite. And the company that I met, which we've now signed an NDA with in less than 24 hours, because we're super excited to move this partnership forward. And again, they really make it easy for brands and retail to essentially drive consumer engagement and reward loyalty. So today, what I had actually done is with that NFT, which was then actually redeemed for a gift card with a coffee shop, I actually used it just earlier today, and it was just such a seamless experience. I literally scanned a QR code, it was inactivated, and then I showed the respective wallet and got my coffee.
Okay, but it's not built on Casper, right? It's like built on other blockchain or without blockchain.
So right now, that's just one example. It's on one blockchain, but we're looking to, integrate it with Casper, which is going to be super easy. And then basically we both have a pipeline that is interested in those kind of things. So then we'd go to market essentially together. But that's just one example of what we would do with that partner. They're looking to partner essentially with an enterprise grade protocol and have a professional services team have access to that. And similar to what I just said a few minutes ago in terms of focusing on what they do and what they do well, they have a whole load of other opportunities that they then want to bring in us from a professional services and a Casper development services. So that's just one example of what we're going to do together. And that was just in the last 24 hours.
Okay, that's nice. But by the way, congrats making Casper into the top 100 on CoinMarketCap. You're the first in CasperLabs team that I like. Congrats for that.
Yeah, that's awesome for the community, obviously, as well as a whole. And I think, when you look at it from a smart contract platform development, it's now looking like it's in the top 30. The last time I'd seen it, at least on Twitter, from the community.
yeah, we want that. We want that. Yeah, I want to see personally. I want to see Casper in top 10. So keep it up. So how do you plan to scale and drive like enterprise to move to the Casper? How do you want to scale this blockchain? Like 1 million patents. I want more. Like 10 million NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose when you look at from the technology standpoint, obviously the engineers that are working on the tech, they're constantly testing and looking at different features that they're going to add to the roadmap. So, just most recently we saw the details about CEP 47, and some details has been announced around the Casper 2.0. Meta Partikar, our CTO and co-founder, she posted a blog the last couple of weeks. So that's just something super exciting that's going to address typically some of the, scalability and efficiency issues that are typically being seen within the enterprise blockchain adoption side of things.
Okay, so guys, ask your questions. There is a question from Toyota Road Life and the exchange launch is coming up, but I've answered already that you can't comment exchanges listings, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so we can talk about business development and exciting stuff. So do you have prepared any other exciting news or teasing or pouring hopium into our hearts? Anything? Like I can make shots?
So what I would say is what we're seeing, with our product team, we're listening to what's happening in the market, what our customers and pipeline are saying, and where we think we should build out specific capabilities. So one of the areas, particularly within the enterprise space, is around the hybrid network setups. So let's say companies, they're either in a highly regulated industry and obviously, there's not really necessarily any regulation in place yet. So they're looking to kind of find a middle ground and way that they can use the blockchain, but also keep some of their data private. But also because of what the demands are in terms of having more transparency amongst the users and consumers, we basically have built this tooling that enables you to, let's say, configure easily a private implementation, but then have integrity checks to the public blockchain, where you don't necessarily have to reveal the information, but you can prove that you've acted in a compliant manner, that the data hasn't necessarily been manipulated. So that's really starting to get a lot of traction, let's say, with governments within the financial services space. And we think that, that's continuously going to be the case.
Okay, so move to another point on your notepad, the Casper CEP 78 NFT standard.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us more about that? And we have a question from here. The Casper CEP 78 standard is a very novel and innovative standard. Currently, many companies launch NFTs on other blockchains. How is your strategy to bring those companies over to the Casper?
Yeah, so first off, we start and we boil down to understanding, what their business priorities are and what is it the outcome that they're looking to have. So, we're never going to initially position Casper as the best blockchain to use without understanding what their requirements are, because that is really going to determine everything. What network setup are you looking to have? Does volume transaction matter? Are you looking to use a public blockchain? How many users are you looking to have? Do you need to encrypt data? What's your budget? So all of these things, once we understand, then what we typically do is, again, have communicated in a way to that specific buyer, and we would compare. We'd have data to actually compare and let's say, how Casper would be better in this scenario. So it's backed up by actual samples type data. And then obviously, as I'd mentioned, it's very much focused on being able to communicate it in a way to the specific buyer. So how we would communicate why Casper to a CIO is obviously very different to how we would communicate it to a CMO. It's ultimately, at this point with the C-suites, it's less about the technology and it's about breaking it down to make it relate to their problems and the goals and impacts that they're looking to have, and then having a data to kind of back that up.
Okay, we have two more questions. So there was a tweet on the Casper Network Twitter profile about Siemens, like Siemens hackathon that is organized by Siemens. So is there a question, the very tricky one? Is there any partnership agreement with Siemens?
So I think that what was tweeted was to do with the association and a partnership there. So that's something that I couldn't honestly comment at. What I would say though is, at this point, we're probably under NDAs with at least 45 now companies, and the majority of them are, Fortune 500, 100 companies. So we do have right now quite a bit of a focus in the energy space. I would say we're now getting some traction more so as well on the retail side of things. Public sector and governments as well is another area. Manufacturing, supply chain, financial services as well, and healthcare as well. So we're pretty much working across a lot of the main kind of industries, and that's continuing to grow.
That's going to be a smooth transition because there is a question from Uzo Peace. I saw in the roadmap that the top 30 wealthy companies will be announced in next year. Why not before? Can we teleport to 20?
I'm not sure exactly what that is in relation to there. But in terms of teleporting, I wouldn't want to jump ahead. I'm enjoying the ride now, and I'm excited to see what unfolds in the coming weeks and what we actually can announce. So stay tuned, stay in the present.
Wait. What? Next week? you're going to announce something next week, right?
No. In the coming weeks, you
Coming
should
weeks
see
soon.
some announcements.
Okay, you know that we are digging, like as a community. At the last interview, Ask Me Anything with the Cliff Sarkin, he made a slide from the Casper Lab pipeline, and we are, as a community, we are digging right now into possible companies. You know, like
Okay.
that's very fun way to spend time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the insurance company. I am digging in the whole bunch of insurance companies in US.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the insurance side, actually, just to touch on that, I had an interesting conversation at the Blockchain Expo conference that I was at 2 weeks ago. And this particular insurance company that I was speaking to, we were actually talking about, starting with the HR department, because what they were saying is one of their struggles is getting employees to fill in, typical surveys and getting people back to the office. So thinking about how you can do NFT activations around that, and then obviously rewarding the employees for participating. So that was just an interesting angle that you wouldn't necessarily, let's say, traditionally think that you would associate with, an insurance company wanting to focus on when you think about blockchain, immediately.
Okay, we have two more questions from Toyota Road Live. First one: what type of block time speed can be expected when Casper 2.0 is launched?
Mm-hmm. So I can't really comment on that directly now, because of the testing that's going on. But obviously the private blockchain, it's configurable to whatever kind of parameters that you're willing to have and what hardware requirements that you're willing to kind of use. And on the public blockchain, what I would say is, it's very much following in line with what I would say on average third generation blockchains are looking to do from a speed perspective, but very much, ensuring that the security aspect and the efficiency from a storage perspective, that they are equally taken into consideration. So not just focusing on, bringing down those block times.
Okay, now question from me, because I'm digging also in Nucleus Finance, the future of finance. Are you involved also? Can you explain me that?
So I'm not directly involved in that industry, but I know about some of the projects and use cases that are being explored. So you feel free to go with the answer or go with the question, sorry, and I'll see what I can actually answer.
Okay, so forget that. Let's move to the question from Matthew Dix. What are your biggest challenges as business development manager to take a product to the market that's not necessarily ready available?
That's a good question. So I would say, if you mean generally the product and everything not being ready, so what we're doing is, we're ultimately selling a vision. We sell professional services, and then we help companies figure out how to start small and tackle their problems and achieve the impact that they're looking to have. Now, in terms of making it easy for enterprises, the challenge is obviously the fact that there aren't standards and regulation in place. Like, that is obviously absolutely critical to enable the scaling of anything. And so what I am doing on the channel partnership side is forming these partnerships with other solution providers that are looking to do the exact same, making blockchain easy and accessible for enterprises. So for example, I've had partnership discussions, and they're actually already integrated with Casper with this accounting and tax automation compliance platform for digital assets. So that's, going to be something absolutely critical for enterprises when, they're transacting at scale. So it can literally look at a wallet and basically be able to figure out, how much you might owe from a tax perspective, and easily integrates with, your existing systems. And that's important because a lot of brands wouldn't even think about, well, maybe from the context of all of these NFT activation and loyalty and reward programs that are going in place, you still need to figure out the tax component there if it's going to be regarded as an asset that's going to be redeemable for others, and you need to be able to account for that on your balance sheet. So that's one example. Another example then, would be with our partnership with Smart Media Technologies. So they have a low no code NFT platform that's targeted at brands, and it's highly programmable. So you can make that NFT on Casper represent literally anything. It could be 3D enabled. And the fact that that's already built, it integrates with companies' existing CRM systems. It's been around for 4 years. It's been battle tested. That makes sense, obviously, to partner with them. Why would we try and build something like that from scratch? Exactly. Yeah, these guys.
Yep. I had a question about them. So because I saw like KFC and like NBA brands, so I just want to ask, is something more to come?
Oh, yeah, definitely with this partnership, I would say a lot of the NFT type activation work that we're doing right now is around, I'm not sure if Joelle had touched on this, but let's say around driving engagements around particular islands. So really trying to encourage tourism and increasing tourism. So let's say the island is really focused on really getting people outside and experiencing the local culture. So getting rewards for doing some hikes and then being able to redeem them, let's say at restaurants. That's the kind of thing that we're exploring on quite a big scale, not with just like one, but, in the multiples.
Okay. Is there any working or planning for zero knowledge and privacy? Umid asked.
Yeah, so I would say you should definitely look at the Casper 2.0 blog and documentation. Like the security on Casper generally is like, very good. And right now as well, I would say that I wouldn't be able to comment on that at this point in time.
Okay. A couple months ago, I listened to your podcasts on some channel, on YouTube channel, and you were talking about DeFi on Casper. So where is the DeFi on Casper?
Was I? I think on the DeFi, so that's again all the associations work that's really focusing on, getting those partnerships in place with the right, exchanges, DEXs, AMAs. There's already, bridges, as you well know, already in place that have been built by third-party providers. So that's definitely in the works from my understanding. But I wouldn't be able to comment any more than that because I'm just not directly involved in that. That's more of the association.
Okay. We have two questions from XRP Marshall from XRP community. I don't know if you can answer that. What are the current transactions per second that the Casper network can handle right now? Do you know
that? The transaction per second is definitely less than Ethereum. And then obviously, if you're talking about the public blockchain, and then sure, in the private setting, it can be in the thousands. It just depends, obviously, how you configure it.
Okay, guys, if you have any more questions, type them in comments. We have like, I don't know, 10 minutes more. So we have covered NFTs with the Smart Media Technologies, new NFT standard, Casper 2.0. We have covered what Davos event, right? So what else do you want to see to Casper Network to succeed, to Casper Labs to scale and grow?
Sorry, could you repeat that? What do I think needs to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
On the Casper Labs side, or do you mean generally on the
Casper Labs side? First, Casper Labs side.
So yeah, definitely we need to continue forming these channel partners because that's going to enable us to enter, more verticals at scale where there is already existing client demand and needs. So that's absolutely critical. And then it's really getting to market, as quickly as possible, but in a safe manner as well. So, we have lots of POCs under development. We have some at pilot stage. Obviously, the majority of announcements that people make is at production stage. And these sales cycles for these enterprises are very long. And we have paid engagements. We don't actually pay enterprises or partners at all to work with us, which is unlike, some of the other chains out there. So yeah, we just need to get a market as fast as we can, but in a safe and secure way, and then bring out Casper 2.0.
Okay, we have another question from Umit. Can we call Casper blockchain an improved and institutionalized, sorry for my English, a version of Ethereum?
Yeah, I would say, when you look at the kind of the roadmap, what you can say at a high level conceptually, it is regarded as Ethereum's 3.0 roadmap. And what was the second part, sorry, of that question?
Or does Casper blockchain have such a better technology that is impossible to compare?
So I think it's a kind of combination, honestly. It's the fact that it built obviously its own virtual machine. It's pure proof of stake based from the get-go. And the fact that it is upgradable and has had people researching it for a couple of years and figuring out how to add features, that puts us at an advantage, because you have access to the people who have built the network and are experts in that. They're focusing on that. So I think that kind of puts us in a unique perspective. Casper it was born from Ethereum, going back to, that paper and the discussions that were had. They were looking, ultimately, Ethereum was looking at how to scale, and it wanted to move to a different type of consensus mechanism. So I think that, and combined with the fact that the people who work at the company have enterprise experience, they've lowered that barrier to entry, because the intent is to make it easy to build on Casper. And all of our partnerships, as I said, are going to be with companies that have services and solutions that are easy to use and access. So we're really, really trying to build it. And we have the opportunity, given that we haven't been around as long, since there'd be less people naturally on the network in comparison to Ethereum. So it's going to be a lot more easier and nimble to actually, upgrade and progress forward with it.
Okay, we have a question from the Crypto Pioneer. You mentioned that IPV will soon launch more than 1 million patents, NFTs on blockchain. What's the schedule regarding the duration until these 1 million NFTs are minted?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be in the coming weeks. So that's all I can say on that. I don't think I can be any more clear, honestly.
It's going to be 1 million at once, or I don't know, 300 per day?
I'm not actually sure on the specifics, but I can find out and come back to you, and we can post that in the community.
Okay, that's great. So, because this is going to be a big project, right? The project with the hiking in the mountains, the tourism app is a smaller project, right? So do you have?
No. I wouldn't say it's definitely not as. I wouldn't say it's on the smaller scale at all, because it's going to be an annual thing. It's going to be, in the millions as well, in terms of being able to encourage NFT activations. And that's just one of the projects that is in discussions, for example, with that company. So, there's going to be a number of different layers there. So I wouldn't necessarily say that at all, because it's going to take legs of its own.
Okay, yeah, sweat economy on Near protocol. There is a project about the walking, right? Paying to walk. So that was a big one project, the biggest on the Near protocol. So yeah, but something similar to IPV.
So you'll have to wait until you see the details, because I can't really go into the specifics without it having been launched yet. So just kind of stay tuned on that for sure. It's going to be exciting. And, same with all these NFT activations as well. The unique thing, obviously, about the Casper blockchain and the NFTs is the fact that, again, they are upgradable. So that is a massive added advantage for these enterprises using them. Doesn't not necessarily mean much, obviously, to the end user and the consumer. But then again, neither does, what the underlying tech is, as long as it works for them. But it does matter at this point in time for the enterprises when they're picking what blockchain to work with.
Okay, another question about the games. So last time the Cliff said there is a one AAA game, tier one, building on Casper. So can you tell us more, or do you have any more specific information about that?
I can't delve into more about that one. So yeah, sorry about that.
Damn it. Maybe next time.
Well, you're teasing the information out of me, but nothing that will get me into trouble. So that's the main thing, at least for me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The Martini said, "I trust her." So you won. So Niamh, thank you very much for today. We got epic information about the 1 million patents. This is a very huge information. So thank you for that. I'm going to make a shot from that and post right away on Twitter. And I hope we can see each other in a couple of weeks. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me. And thanks for all the great questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. See you soon on Twitter and see you on YouTube. Bye.
Thanks.